Douglas, também, bom dia. Aí, ó. Bom dia. Tá não, tá sol não, né? Tranquilo.
Is Neymar actually starting for Brazil today? Here's what nobody's talking about. Brazil walk into MetLife Stadium this Sunday carrying more pressure than they've felt in years. This is a team that just scraped past Japan, 2-1, in a match that looked far shakier than the scoreline suggests. Casemiro rose highest for a header to level things, and then, deep into stoppage time, Gabriel Martinelli found the winner. It was the kind of result that gets celebrated for about an hour before the bad news starts rolling in. Because that win came with a price tag. Two of Carlo Ancelotti's most important players are now banged up, and the ripple effects of that could completely reshape how Brazil lines up against Norway. Let's start with the timeline. Raphinha picked up a hamstring problem against Haiti, and there was genuine hope inside the camp that he'd be fit enough to feature here. That hope is gone. He's not making it, which means Rayan, the young Bournemouth winger, keeps his spot out on the right for at least one more game. Then there's Lucas Paquetá. He didn't even make it through the Japan match. He was pulled at halftime, and it later came out that he's dealing with a thigh injury on his left leg. For a team already thin on creative options, losing your starting number 10 mid-tournament is not a small thing. So here's where it gets interesting. When Paquetá came off, Ancelotti didn't reach for another midfielder. He threw on Endrick, a striker, and shortly after that, Martinelli came on too, essentially giving Brazil two forwards instead of a like-for-like swap. That's a signal. That tells you Ancelotti might already be thinking about going more direct, more attacking, maybe even a 4-2-4 shape. And if that's really the plan, there's only one name everyone in Brazil is whispering about right now. Neymar. After missing the opening two group matches through injury, Neymar finally got onto the pitch for a 15-minute cameo against Scotland. The crowd in Miami lost their minds. It made sense why. That short appearance was his first time playing for Brazil in nearly 3 years, going all the way back to October of 2023. Almost 1,000 days of waiting, and he only got a quarter of an hour to show for it. Against Japan, he didn't even get off the bench. He sat and watched the whole thing unfold. But now, with Paquetá ruled out and the midfield already looking stretched, there's a real opening for Ancelotti to hand him a full start. The question is whether he can actually fit into this version of Brazil. Neymar is 34 now, playing his club football back home at Santos, and physically, he's not the same explosive wide player who used to torment defenders one-on-one. Realistically, he's not taking Vinícius Júnior's spot out on the left. That role belongs to Brazil's biggest attacking threat, and nobody's touching that. So if Neymar plays, it's almost certainly through the middle, stepping into that vacated number 10 role that Paquetá can't fill right now. It's a spot that would let him operate in tighter spaces, pull strings, and pick his moments, rather than relying on the pace and dribbling that made him famous a decade ago. But there's a cost to that too. If Neymar drops into that central role, the responsibility for defensive midfield work falls even harder on Casemiro and Bruno Guimarães, and by most accounts, that pairing already looked overrun at times against Japan. Adding another attack-minded player into the mix means even less protection in front of the back line. Here's why Ancelotti might do it anyway. Norway are dangerous going forward, genuinely dangerous, but they are shaky at the back. Stale Solbakken has built a team that thrives on scoring goals rather than preventing them. So if Brazil are staring down a shootout-style contest, the calculation shifts. Maybe you don't try to outdefend Norway. Maybe you try to outscore them instead. And that's exactly the kind of game where throwing an extra attacking body forward, even one who's been out for years, starts to make sense. There's also the historical weight hanging over all of this. Brazil have not been knocked out of a World Cup this early since 1990. That's the shadow following this squad into every match right now. A poor result against Norway, and that uncomfortable comparison becomes very real, very fast. So every decision Ancelotti makes this week is being filtered through that fay. For Neymar personally, there's another number worth mentioning. He's already scored 8 goals across his World Cup career, putting him among Brazil's most prolific players on this stage. A start against a leaky Norwegian defense would be about as good a chance as is going to get to add to that tally, and maybe remind everyone why this whole tournament felt incomplete without him healthy. So where does that leave things heading into Sunday? Raphinha is out. Rayan stays on the right. Paquetá is sidelined with that thigh issue. Vinicius holds down the left without question. And right in the middle of all of it sits Neymar, 34 years old, back from injury, with 15 minutes of match fitness to his name and a golden opportunity sitting right in front of him. Ancelotti has a genuine puzzle here. Play it safe, bring in a defensive body like Fabinho or Danilo to shore up that midfield, and try to grind out a result the conservative way. Or roll the dice, trust that Norway's defense is there to be exploited, and unleash a front line that includes a returning Neymar looking to make up for lost time. Whatever he decides, this is shaping up to be one of the most consequential lineup calls of Brazil's entire tournament. One that could either save their World Cup or expose exactly why this team has looked so vulnerable behind the goals they've been scoring. We'll know his answer soon enough. Kickoff at MetLife is coming, and all eyes will be on that team sheet the moment it drops.